Welcome. I'm Beth Packman with the Greater Statesville Chamber of Commerce, and today we have our Meet the Candidate interview with Dustin Jett, who is running for City Council-At-Large. Welcome, Dustin.
Thank you for having me. This is great.
Absolutely. Thanks for being here. So do me a favor, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So my name's Dustin Jett, and I'm running for Statesville City Council-At-Large. So my husband Tyler and I have been here about 2.5, almost 3 years in Statesville. So I work for a local telecommunications company in Mooresville. So we moved to Iredell County about 6 years ago. We moved to Mooresville at first. We liked Mooresville, but Mooresville's growth didn't really suit us that well. So we made the adventure to buy a house in Statesville, and we moved here, and we love every bit of it. It's great. So we have our 3 miniature schnauzers. Those are our kids that we love very much. So they keep us in line. They live better than we do, and we love it.
I'm sure.
So I kind of wanted to jump into this my big push with this was to make sure that everyday working people like myself have somebody working for them and speaking on their behalf. Having discussions with people in the community, that's a big concern of theirs, is they feel like that they're not well represented. And talking with people that just work every day and just trying to keep the lights on, food on the table. And I'm just an everyday guy. I've never done politics before, so I feel like I can resonate with them really well. So that's why I want to take this opportunity to try this out.
Fantastic.
Okay.
All right. Well, let's move into the questions.
Okay.
All right.
Yes, ma'am.
So question number 1, what do you think the city does well from a service provision standpoint, and what are its most glaring needs?
So it was good to see the recent investment that they made in the parks in the city. The city had some really crumbling park systems before. They just recently did a lot of their upgrades to that. So, and I've had the opportunity to go to some events and go to some of the city parks and see the things that they've changed with that. And it's just really nice to give people some green space and some place to kind of be outside and do that. There's Parks and Rec is kind of some cities really prioritize it, some cities don't. So I'm glad to see that Statesville does that. One thing that I think Statesville could do better on, and it's no brainer to drive around town and see all the barrels and the infrastructure the way they're having to. So at least they're trying to get on the right track of that and get that going and get those improvements done. So as we start to grow more, we can keep up with that, with the demand in the water and the sewer. And I see as being a utility worker myself, I see the improvements that Statesville Power is doing with changing out some of the poles and making sure their infrastructure is better and can well represent what we need in our growth. So, it's good with that. We just need to make sure we're focusing more on stuff like that.
Okay. What is your definition of smart growth, and what's your general philosophy on the growth currently happening in Statesville?
So the thing is, there's a lot of conversation about the growth in Statesville. Some people don't want the growth. They fear that they're gonna, that we're gonna become like Mooresville and some other of the cities in the South. As the Charlotte suburbs are creeping northward. So my thing with smart growth is we have to involve the community more. That's one thing is, these changes and these decisions that City Council is making on the developments, the developers are coming and asking and seeking for these rezoning and development, we need to be more involved with the community, because the community is what we're affecting, the neighborhoods that these affect. Those people need to have more of a chance to have better say in what's going on, versus a lot of people aren't sure of how things work and aren't sure of the processes of how it goes through planning and things like that. So we really need to try to reach out more to the community and educate them into the processes, and so they know how to become more involved, because most people don't know how to be involved because we're not really educating them on how to be involved. So,
okay.
And then one other thing is we have to make sure that, when the developers come to us and they say that they want to make these changes and this and that, we have to make sure that we're holding them responsible for those changes that they said they would do, not only just in the start, but as it goes through and going forward. So. Okay.
All right. As a council member, how will you go about working with your peers, the other council members and the mayor, to get things done?
So at the end of the day, we all live here. We all share this city together. We all work here, live here. We're raising families here and that kind of thing. So you have to work together and do what's for the greater good for the community. At the end of the day, we are here representing the citizens of this city. So, and I feel like sometimes that's forgotten, and we have to remember that, and we have to come back and we have to reground ourselves to where we should be, and focusing on the people that live in this community and we have to make sure we're including all corners of the city, not just certain specific parts of the city. So that's something that I hear a lot of, that people feel like that there are certain parts of the city that aren't getting the results that they should be getting, because they just feel like because they're not in certain parts that they're not looked at the same. And I feel like that really needs to change, and everything needs to be on a square playing field, and we need to make sure that we're taking care of everybody.
Okay. All right. I think you answered this one a little bit earlier, but I'm going to throw it at you anyways.
Sure. Go ahead.
All right. How important is investing in quality of life improvements such as parks, greenways, and sidewalks for our existing residents and for attracting new residents to Statesville?
Well, one of the things is, I say what makes good neighborhoods. A couple things. One is being safe. Safety in a neighborhood. So you need to make sure that they have a good green space and a good park system that they can take the kids, and they can feel safe and they can enjoy their neighborhood. They also need to make sure they have good sidewalks and make sure that they can get around in a safe pedestrian way, so we don't have people walking on the shoulders of the streets and things like that, because that becomes a danger, especially at night, because we do have people that walk, and some people just don't have the luxury to have a vehicle to go to work and things like that, and that's how they get around, is they have to walk. So we need to make sure that we're taking care of them as well. So so stuff like that is very important when it comes to sidewalks, and so for the green space in the parks. So
terrific. So, do you have any closing remarks you'd like to share with potential voters?
So I think the main thing is that I really want to stress is that I'm just an everyday guy. I get up, I go to work, I put food on the table, I keep the lights on, So I'm a union worker by trade. I've never done politics before. I don't have any other real ties that's pushing me to what I need to do. I work beside people that are just everyday people, and that's what I'm here to represent, is our everyday people that feel like they don't have a voice. So I really would appreciate your vote, and I'm Dustin Jett, and I'm running for Statesville City Council at Large.
Thanks so much for coming in today, Dustin.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.